Hey everyone, it's your girl Nicole Marie. Welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to talk about how to deal with criticism, how to deal with rejection, and how to deal with comparison as an artist, as an independent artist specifically, and how to overcome those things. So sit back, relax, grab a snack, a drink, and enjoy the video. Make it last. Make it last. Make it last. Let's make this last forever and ever and ever. Let's make this last forever, ever and ever. So, the reason why, I guess I'll start here. The reason why I've been, quiet on my socials, not so much as Facebook, although I am on Facebook. I have my artist page where I post music related things to my artist page, and I'll even share those things onto my personal page in case people who are on my personal page may not see the things that I post on my artist page. So that's the real reason why I post sometimes on my personal Facebook page. But yeah, so I don't really get on Facebook like that anymore, just because I really don't like Facebook anymore. And that's a whole nother video, not for now. But yeah, so the reason why I've been kind of quiet on my YouTube page and even my Instagram lately is just because, sometimes as an artist, it's good to kind of like reflect and sit back and just reflect, right? You don't really necessarily have to post a lot all the time, like a lot of people may think you should as an artist. I mean, yeah, we live in a world where it's content, but sometimes as an artist, it's really important to sit back and just reflect on some things, right? So it was back in the summertime when I was working with a collective of musicians, other writers specifically, and the feedback that I got wasn't the feedback that really no musician, especially no vocalist, wants to hear. And I was kind of taken aback by it, but I could tell that this person who has, I don't know, almost decades, years of experience in the industry, this person knew what he was talking about. And he told me what I should work on as a musician and what I should work on. And it wasn't bad, but after that phone call, it was just me just overthinking. Like, first I was telling myself, like, all right, Nicole, it wasn't bad. It was just, you just got to work on this or that. Boom. You got it. Boom. But then, like, afterwards I was like, okay, well, what if I'm not good enough? What if I really suck? What if I'm just horrible at what I do or whatever? Even though my track record says otherwise, but what if I'm horrible at what I do? That's what I was thinking to myself. But that's kind of why I wasn't recording or wasn't really writing anything, or why I kind of, let dust collect on my piano, which it's not good. But that was me for like the past, month and a half, 2 months. But after reevaluating things, I've came to the realization that when you get criticism as an artist, you have to either think like, okay, is this constructive criticism, or is it just, really, really bad criticism where this person is just really just mean with their words, or just horrible with their delivery. And what I've come to find out is there's a difference between the two. Constructive criticism is where someone is telling you where you're not up to par in a certain area, but they're telling you how you can get there to be better. And they believe in you, but they're like, hey, there's this one area that you're lacking in, or this other area that you're lacking in, or whatever the case may be. The bad criticism is where, just kind of like what I just said, where it's like, you suck, you're horrible, you're terrible, this is awful, don't ever do this again, you should do something else, you should whatever. That's bad criticism, where they're not even offering a solution to the problem that they've, to the problem that there is, So that's what I had to like distinguish between the two, and it was constructive criticism. But again, in my mind, I was like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I'm not. No, that wasn't the case. But that's kind of like, even in that, like, that's why I wasn't recording, why I wasn't writing. Other than the stuff that I was already working on with other people that I was hired to do, or collaborations that I've already been working on, like working on a film, working on a TV show that's going to be coming out next year. I don't have the date on that, but as soon as I find that out, I'll let you guys know. But other than like my own music per se, I wasn't really working on it just because I felt like I'm not good enough. But again, that wasn't the case. So I think what I had to do, and this is what it says right here, like 5 ways to deal with criticism as an artist. Number 1 is to reflect on the critique. Take time to read what they've actually said, right? Like, take inventory of the things that they said. Was it helpful? Do you believe it? Or do you think that, it was not true? I had a professor when I was going to Dallas Baptist University. It was in my recording class, my recording techniques class. And my professor, I forgot his name, but he told us one time, he had said that we work in an opinion-based industry. So that's another thing you have to take in inventory of, right? Like, you have to understand that, okay, this opinion or this critique might be true. There might be some truth to it, but at the end of the day, it's an opinion, and we work in an opinion-based industry. It's not like we as artists, it's not like we work in, the law field where it's black or white, or where we work in the medical field where it's one way or the other. But we work in the entertainment industry. So what this group of people might not like, or might think might need some work on it or whatever, there's a whole other group that might think the complete opposite. So those are things that you have to understand. So the 5 ways to deal with criticism as an artist is just that, right? And I think there's this really cool quote by Albert Hubbard. It says, "To avoid criticism, you either do nothing, say nothing, or be nothing." So the fact that, and I used to tell myself this all the time when I was at DBU, like before I released my first single, before I performed, before I performed live in front of a live audience or whatever, I used to always see that quote floating around, like on Facebook, Instagram back then, and the fact that it's right here. So the fact that you're getting criticism as an artist lets you know that you're doing something, whether it may be right or not right, but just know that you're doing something, that you're making moves, and that eventually you'll get there wherever it is you're trying to go. So to avoid criticism, do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. And it doesn't matter what you do. There's always going to be someone who finds a fault, especially when you are in a subjective field like making art. So no matter what, you're always going to find that one person who's going to find something wrong. And I remember something that my dad told me a long time ago. He had said that with some people, you're, damned if you do, damned if you don't. No matter what you do, there's always going to be that one person that's going to find something wrong. It could be the slightest thing that may not even be a thing, but there's always going to be that one person that's going to always say, this was bad, or you didn't do good. Not saying that person is like that, no, but just in general rule of thumb, like there's always going to be that one person that's going to be like, this was bad or whatever. So I think the first thing to do is to reflect on the critique. Take some time to read what they've actually said and ask yourself 2 questions. Is this person someone who knows what they're talking about, or is he an internet troll? This person was someone that actually knew what he was talking about. And of course, I have so much respect for that person. And then the next thing is there any merit to what they're saying? Sometimes criticism is valid, and may just have been expressed in a less than ideal way. Yeah. And I think The next one would be make choices that are right for you. Even after what they've told you how to fix this or what to work on better the next time around, you still have to decide, okay, what choices are best for you as an artist at that time, right? Number three is understand your spotlight. I have no idea what that means. Understand the outpourings of support. I guess from that, I guess what I would get from that is still know that you have people around you who support you. And then maybe journal it. I can't talk today. Journal it out, right? So those are some of the ways to deal with criticism, constructive criticism or bad criticism. But I think it's better to be around people as an artist. It's very crucial to carefully choose who your team is going to be. I said this a long time ago. I would rather be around people who are going to be honest and truthful to me than people who are going to smile in my face and yeah, whatever, yeah, and then they're not telling me what I need to work on or where I'm lacking in. I think that's really a really good rule of thumb, because as an artist, it's very, very crucial to choose who your team is, especially when you don't have a label, especially when you're not signed to a major label. Because you have to understand that there are going to be some people that's going to be afraid to tell you, like, oh, you were flat here, or you were sharp here, or you were kind of like rushing the note here, or this didn't really sound all that good. You're going to have people who's going to be afraid to tell you that because they're going to think, oh, if I tell her or if I tell him the truth, they're going to get mad at me. They're not going to be my friend anymore, or whatever. No, I'm going to be mad at you if after the fact, I realized, dang, I sounded horrible right there, or dang, I could have done better here, I could have done better there. I'll be mad at you then versus you tell me, hey, look, that was sharp, that was flat. Tell me then right then and there, then, I'll have so much more respect for you as a person. But I think those are some of the ways those are some of the ways of how you can deal with criticism as an artist, and also how to choose your team carefully. The next thing is dealing with rejection. Again, we work in an opinion-based industry. You could sound amazing, you could look amazing, you could whatever, and people, you can't please everyone. And I realized that a long time ago. It was in 2012, in January of 2012, I had auditioned for vocal ensemble, and I didn't get it. It's like, what? I always wanted to be a part of that because a lot of my classmates and friends were a part of it, and I always wanted to be a part of it. And I was talking to one of my friends, who we're still great friends. Her name was Trish. And she had told me that, after I found out that I didn't get in, she had told me that she also auditioned one semester and didn't get in. But she told me, she said, but Nicole, I didn't let that define me as a singer. I didn't let that define me as an artist. And that always stuck with me. So no matter what, going forward, I never let rejection define me as an artist. Like, no one knows this, but last year I auditioned for Broadway's The Lion King. It was really on a whim, really. I saw the audition and I was like, I saw the audition info and I was like, oh, okay, let me just see what happens. And I sent in my audition tape and I didn't get it. But I didn't let that define me as an artist, because then I realized, oh, that probably wouldn't have worked out with my schedule anyways, because I was filming a music video and what have you, and I went to Nashville like a month or two later, so that wouldn't have worked out for my schedule. So again, I didn't let that define me as an artist, and I actually auditioned for some other some other musicals here in Dallas, and there was one I can't remember the name of, but it was a really big production, and I auditioned for it, sent in my audition tape, and I didn't get it. But again, I didn't let that define me, because I just didn't. I remembered what Trish told me all those years ago, that, I'm not going to let this audition or that audition define me as a singer, as an artist, and what have you. And, you just can't. Um, and I think one of the things that kind of helped me out, I was watching YouTube one time. It was just last week, and there was I guess there was this YouTube video that I was watching, and I guess it was like a reenactment of King David as a kid, as a child, and he was playing his harp, or he was playing his instrument or whatever, and in the scene, young King David said, "I play for the one who gives me the skill. I play for God." So it made me realize, like, wow, like, yeah, I have this voice or whatever, but really at the end of the day, I'm singing for him, I'm playing for him. Although I'm also playing to, I'm also singing and playing to get my name out more as an artist, and to build my artistry, to build my foundation, obviously, but I can't forget the real reason, like the skill. I'm playing for the one who gave me the skill. I'm playing and I'm singing for God. So that's just something that I saw last week on YouTube that was like, oh, that's really cool. That's something that I've been dealing with, and that's actually a really good point to take away from. And how I've dealt with comparison as an artist. I think that's actually tougher, because especially when you're on social media and you see other musicians. Now, me personally, I don't follow other singers, just because I don't want to unknowingly, or I don't want to just see what every artist, especially other female singers, are doing. I don't want to do that. I'd rather just follow regular musicians, like, keyboard players or drummers or whatever, just because I just try not to follow I try not to follow other singers, other female singers. Now, if I know them personally, that's one thing, but I just try not to follow what everyone else is doing, especially when we're in the same career field, if that makes sense. Because it's so easy to compare yourself as an artist in this day and age, when everything is on Instagram, everything is on YouTube, Facebook, what have you. But I remember early on in my career, this was like in 2016, from 2016 to like 2020, I used to have people compare me to people that was on the same level as I was. And so dealing with comparison, I used to, from 2016 to about 2020, off and on for about those 4 years, I was always compared. People would say, oh, Nicole, you need to sing more like this, or you need to dress more like that, or you see what she's doing on stage, you need to do more of that, and you needed to, and I just got tired of it. I literally wrote a song about that. It's called My Song, actually. The title of the song is called My Song. And I just got so tired of the comparisons, and eventually, you have to learn how to cut these people off in your life. As an artist, they can be detrimental to you. Especially when all you're trying to do is build, and you need people around you who's going to help you build that foundation. But if you're around people who's constantly trying to tear you down, it's like, what good are they really? Like, why are you here? What's your purpose? Like, dude, like, ma'am, sir, whatever, what's your purpose? You know what I mean? So I think at the end of the day, as an artist, it's really important to, one, learn how to deal with criticism. You're always going to be criticized as an artist. I remember when I was teaching in Allen, when I was teaching all the commercial, R&B, pop, country, musical theater, even artists, vocals, and piano. And also, I was also teaching classical piano, not classical voice, but classical piano was the only classical genre that I was teaching. And then I was talking to another teacher who was across the hall from me. We were waiting for our students, so in between time, we sometimes chit-chat, right? And she taught all of her opera classical voice students. And so we were talking about, like, how it's rough being an artist, how it's rough being a singer, especially a female singer. I think it's a little bit more pressure to be a female singer, because if if you're a singer who makes music for ears and not eyes, that's what Adele said. If you're one of those singers who really just cares about the art form of music, who just cares about the music, the art itself, and not trying to dress a certain way, you just want to sing and perform. If you're one of those singers, as a female singer, it makes it harder for you because you have so much pressure. People are expecting you to be half naked or look a certain way or wear tight clothing, and that's not you. But again, so yeah, that's kind of like what we were talking about, where we were saying, sometimes it's hard being a singer. You really have to have thick skin because you're always going to be ridiculed, talked about, criticized, even if it's good or bad. Someone's always going to say something. So I think the takeaway here is to learn how to deal with criticism, knowing that, hey, you're going to get criticized on your worst day or even on your best day. Sometimes you just have to learn how to roll it off your back, or sometimes you just have to learn how to deal with it, accept it, and move on, listen to it, decide whether it's true or not. Second thing is to be very careful about who your team is, not being surrounded by yes man people. And the second thing is dealing with rejection, right? Knowing that, hey, look, I'm not defined by, this rejection letter or this rejection email, or if I didn't get this audition, or if this submission, wasn't successful, or whatever. Just knowing that you're not defined by, by the rejection that you get, that you're gonna face as an artist. And the comparison, I just think you just really have to just block that out, and you have to understand, you have to know who you are as an artist. You have to understand your sound, who you are, right? Like sometimes I ask myself, like, who is Nicole Marie? I have to ask myself that. What do people see, or what do people think of when they hear Nicole Marie? You have to ask yourself that question. You have to understand your brand. You have to understand just everything about you. You have to think of yourself as a walking, talking, living, breathing business. And I think I had said that in my podcast. Actually, no, that's actually coming out in episode 2, where I talk about where I touch upon, artists needs to, as an artist, you need to think of yourself as a business, as a walking, talking, living, breathing business. That's essentially who you are at the end of the day. And all in all, the takeaway again is to just really block out the naysayers. You're always going to have someone that's always going to say something. You're always going to be rejected. You're always going to have this group of people who's not going to like you, or whatever. Again, remember this. We work in an opinion-dominated industry. And again, and the final takeaway here, yeah. So the final takeaway here is to remember what Albert Hubbard said. To avoid criticism, do nothing, say nothing, be nothing. So just think, if you're not getting criticism, then something's not right. At least when you know that you're getting criticized for something, you're doing something, you're active. So that's one thing to remember. So again, y'all, take care, be blessed, and have a good day.